All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another market close. Well, this is an interesting one. This is a really, really interesting one for a variety of reasons. Obviously, the market kind of didn't really do what we all wanted it to do today, which is go higher. Definitely taking a breather. I think it's reasonable. Palantir right now, 25.44, down 2.3% of the day. S&P 511, it's kind of flat, nothing too crazy. IWM down about 1%. Snowflake down about 0.23%. And SoFi down about 0.97%. But Bitcoin kept going. Bitcoin didn't stop. Bitcoin is here. There you go. Look at this. Bitcoin right now, 72,274 on Bitcoin. It has not changed. So Bitcoin is there. Bitcoin is not stopping, and it's going to continue pulling forward. Right now, 72,207 on Bitcoin, up 5.17% of the day. The weird thing about today, which is what we're all trying to make sense of, is that Bitcoin is up and all the crypto plays are down. Pretty much all of them. I mean, look at Robinhood, 1682. Robinhood was at 1760 for the day. Got smacked, 1682. But if you're a Robinhood shareholder, down 1% is actually not that bad because look at CleanSpark, dude. The thing's down 15%. It's like, if you told me Bitcoin was going past 70,000, not 71,000, not just 70,000, not even 69.9, 72,216, and it was going to maintain that for the majority of the day, really since last night this kind of happened. I would think that some of these stocks would be higher. CleanSpark down 15%. Even Coinbase could not maintain its run. Iren down, Cypher down, Marathon down 11%, Riot down 4%, Robinhood obviously down 1%, Bitfarms, they did at the money offering, they're down 10%. MicroStrategy is the only crypto stock that's up around 7% right now, and they were up 12% on the day. So even they are not as high as they were before. So it's been a really interesting morning. I don't think any of us expected the market to kind of turn out like this, but that's what we're seeing right now. And I think it's a kind of weird spot with markets right now. The sort of analysis that I have on this is that people are taking profits and that people want to have a breather. Now, I say this, and CPI tomorrow is the perfect storm because as CPI comes in, and if it's hotter than expected, the market will really want to take a breather. So I think we need to strap in and get ready for a little bit of pain if that happens. But then again, I said that in January, and that didn't happen, right? CPI came and then it went. Now, granted, in January, Bitcoin wasn't 72,000, the S&P wasn't at 510. But I mean, maybe the market is going to continue to keep going like here. So let's get into it. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. We got to break down why this is happening. We got to talk about NVIDIA, their new results or their new conference coming up. And let's see what is going on. Shem Pasta, Nick Free, Justin Bryant, XR or Jacob of 59. Thank you for being here today. Other Zinc, Persian Prince, hello from Las Vegas. Hello. Chana, hope you had a nice weekend. Thank you, Chana. Hope you had a nice weekend as well. Harmsy, Digital Content, Edmund, what's up? Yeah, we're gonna mute this Jacob guy. This spamming XRP everywhere. I mean, I like XRP too, but it's not the most exciting. Otto, thank you for being here. ER was right. If anyone who's a mod here and you see someone spamming something, just ban them because we can't have too much spam. Belly, David, Jubei, D. Gordon, thank you all for being here. Ty Gordon, what's up? RF Andy, Endless Awareness. All right. For some of you who are asking why aren't you streaming on Twitter anymore and you have to come to YouTube just to access the stream, Twitter is inflating the numbers aggressively. Twitter, I don't know if you guys know this, but Twitter is juicing the numbers really badly, and it's messing with me as a creator. I just can't see 3,000 people, not because I get intimidated by 3,000 people, because I know they're not real. So it's kind of hard to just talk to 3,000 bots. It's just psychologically, it's not the easiest thing to do. So until Twitter fixes their live streaming numbers that are getting juiced up, I'm not streaming on Twitter just because it just doesn't make sense. And I don't like seeing some random number that's not real. So I'd rather just be on YouTube where I know I can trust it's real and keep it monitored from there. Now, why is Twitter inflating their numbers? I don't know. Maybe they need to create more engagement. I don't know what's going on. Elon's in a mess right now, dude. There's a new lawsuit coming down on Elon that his nonprofit was used for business purposes. Now, look, every nonprofit that a billionaire has is used to advance their own business interests, so I don't think it's a big deal. But it's just lawsuit on top of lawsuit. OpenAI issues. The suing thing is like, it's just, he's in a very interesting situation. And I don't know if he's instructing Twitter to pump up the numbers, but you can definitely tell it's fake. So we'll see what happens from there. But yeah, that's why right now we're just going to be here on YouTube. Okay, so let's talk about what's going on with the miners. So right now, I want to share a couple of things that are kind of giving a little bit of clarity on what's happening with Bitcoin, but also what's happening with the miners. First, in the context of Bitcoin, there's a ton of things I want to discuss here. So first, BlackRock and Fidelity ETFs are ranked third and fourth in ETFs right now. So this is some of the new numbers we got this morning. 16 billion between the two, BlackRock and Fidelity. Third and fourth of inflows amongst all of inflows in 2014. VOO and IVV had the number 1 and number 2 spot, but BlackRock and Fidelity 3 and 4 in the context of Bitcoin ETFs. The main reason Bitcoin's at 72,000 right now is because Michael Saylor bought $800 million of Bitcoin last night, and he started probably buying it really when Bitcoin got to 70,000. So that influx of 12,000 Bitcoin being taken off, I think MicroStrategy now owns almost 1% of all the Bitcoin that are out there. That is what led Bitcoin to go higher. So that's kind of the core reason for why we're seeing Bitcoin have some momentum right here. Okay, so that was some of the MicroStrategy news. Now, in the context of Bitcoin miners, there's a couple of things to discuss for why they are not doing so well. The first reason is obviously Bitfarms. This is the big one that today just didn't go well, and it kind of created a little bit of a cascading effect across all the other miners. Bitfarms today is announcing the purchase of an additional 51,000 new miners right now, which is good, like little sub miners, which is great. That's awesome. The problem is they're doing and financing that purchase with $375 million of at the money dilution, which just sucks. Like no one wants to see that happening right now. So Bitfarms dilution is kind of making an argument in the context of miners, which I call me crazy, but I think Bitfarms is having the impact on the rest of the miners, which is that maybe these other guys are going to have to do a lot of dilution. And if they're going to have to do a lot of dilution, a lot of their stocks up more than 100% over the past couple months, then we need to really think carefully about the miners. I thought the brokerages were going to be a good crypto play in terms of Robinhood and Coinbase today, but everything got hit. Obviously, the miners got hit the worst. And I think the argument that the street's struggling with is that, well, if Bitfarms have to do 375 million, what is CleanSpark going to have to do? What is Marathon going to have to do? Now, remember, these miners' profits are cut in half because currently they're mining 900 Bitcoin. Now, CleanSpark's not mining all 900, but let's say they're mining 100 or 200 or 150. You have to take that number and literally divide it in half because the overall supply will go to 450. So that means their profits get cut in half. The only way for them to maintain their margins is for Bitcoin to increase substantially in value so that even if they're getting cut in half, the half that they are creating, the 50 or 150 that they're creating instead of 300 that they're creating, still is able to maintain those values because the price of Bitcoin itself goes up. So Bitfarms is announcing $375 million of dilution in order to be able to do a bunch of different things, which is important. But that's hurting shareholders, and shareholders are really reconciling now with the fact that Bitfarms was at 50 cents, dude, at one point. I had options on Bitcoin. I remember I made like $600 on that. There's going to be more dilution coming down the belt. And if that dilution happens, that's not going to be the best thing for the broader market. B. Martin says, I don't see how miners don't see sell pressure near halving. Their earnings are going to get halved. Yeah, that's the other thing. These miners might have to sell more of their Bitcoin as well, which is not going to be the best for Bitcoin. Now, granted, I don't think it's going to be a mass sell as long as the price continues to go up. But what if the price doesn't go up as high as it needs to do? I mean, like, yeah, you're going to have some volatility there. And these Bitcoin miners are they're not going to be in the best situation. And I think the market's taking a look at that. Now, that doesn't mean I think that Bitcoin or that the miners necessarily need to take a fundamental pause, but it does mean that a lot of the street is evaluating their miner thesis. Right now, PayPal at 60, Tesla also fell to 177, is at 181 at one point. So now it's up 1% on the day. Palantir, SoFi 768. Palantir, I think low 25s. Yeah, 25.36. Palantir got hit as well. So again, on these crypto stocks, again, Bitfarms down 10%, Riot down 4%, CleanSpark down 15%. Now, I think all these are obviously algorithmically moving. I mean, this is kind of insane. MicroStrategy is only up 5%. It was up 16% at one point. Either people took profits or the algorithms were just like, we don't care that Bitcoin's above 72,000. We're just not gonna let it play out. What's gonna be really ironic is if that Bitcoin hits like 80, 90, 100,000 and the derivative plays don't follow, which I don't think would happen, but could you imagine like a CleanSpark is stuck at $15 if Bitcoin's at 100,000 or a MicroStrategy is not going up? It seems kind of impossible to imagine that would happen, but if it does, it would be the most hilarious thing, because the whole trade of 2024 was a company that relies on Bitcoin. And if Bitcoin defies the odds and it does what everyone thinks it could do, and then the company doesn't react, then it's going to suck. That means the only people that benefit are the people that bought Bitcoin, if those derivative plays don't benefit. Now, again, a company like Robin and Coinbase, I think they're going to benefit because they just make money off transaction fees, and their earnings will show it, and the street will recognize that pretty easily. But some of these other companies, I don't know. I don't know how it's necessarily going to play out. The Bitcoin miners are breaking even on mining. Yeah, I mean, look, they're not all profitable. A lot of them are barely breaking even. So it's not going to be the easiest for these guys. I'm not saying it is, but CleanSpark, remember, was at $2 like 8 months ago or something. So it has gone up tremendously. I know people that really got into it. I don't have my CleanSpark options anymore. I sold it a couple weeks ago, made like $1,100 on it. Nothing too crazy. But I know people that like are starting to get into it at around, 15, 16. Now it's annoying, right? Because you want to see this thing get higher. I got mine at like 12 and I got out at 1650. And I found some other opportunities to do something with that. But a lot of people are getting in at 16, 17 and they want to see it go higher. Now, granted, look, I think CleanSpark's one of the best one out of these miners, so I think it's going to go higher. It just might take more momentum to be able to push it there. If you have MicroStrategy, though, you've got to be happy, dude. You've got to be happy. MicroStrategy was $480. There are some people's positions that are up like 1,000% in a couple months because they got MicroStrategy at the bottom and they got nice options on those. So that's also something that's like one of the crypto stocks that's performing really well. I mean, why do you think Palantir is at low 25s? And nothing specific about Palantir. It's just the market's taking a dump right now. And again, taking a dump is like not even the right way to call it. Meta did take a dump, down 5%. Now, Meta obviously is up a lot. Meta actually started to look interesting to me right here, but I'm not going to pull the trigger on it. The reason Meta went down is because the TikTok ban that was supposed to happen, Trump came up today and basically said Meta is the enemy of the people. Nvidia down 2%. I'm just looking at that. Wow, Nvidia's actually down 2%. And so Trump was on CNBC today. He was like, look, Meta's the enemy of the people. And Joe Biden said, hey, I'll ban TikTok if Congress passes it. And then Trump said, actually, I don't want to ban TikTok because then Meta will become more powerful, which from Trump's perspective, I actually understand not giving all that power to Meta and Google. Now, granted, you give it to the Chinese government. I don't really like. So Trump's playing kind of 4D chess here, but that tanked Meta because if Trump wins, which I mean, look, I'm not the biggest political analyst, but it doesn't look like necessarily Biden's in the best situation just from the polling data. Trump wins and he doesn't want to ban TikTok. That's not necessarily the best for Meta because then they're going to have to deal with it. Now, I don't think they're that much of a threat to Meta, but they would definitely be a great tailwind if it was gone. I mean, there's hundreds of millions of users that would spend more time on Instagram and YouTube. So that would be good for Meta and Google. So the market didn't entirely take a dump. S&P's kind of flat. IWM's down 1%, but individual equities took a little bit of a hit. And obviously NVIDIA taking a hit. You saw Palantir taking a hit as well. Right now, Palantir is still tied as an AI stock, and that AI stock is not going to be able to get out of the grasp of the broader AI sector falling, which is what happened today. I mean, just look at the semis right here. Dude, look at this. ON is up 3%. Intel's up 2%. I think people are kind of flying to safety right here. Qualcomm's up a little bit, and then everything else got demolished. NVIDIA down, SMCI down 5%, NVIDIA down 2%, and AMD down 4% as well. So I think all these stocks took a little bit of a hit, and that's why Palantir is down. It's nothing really specific to Palantir. All right, Monday, March 11th, 4 p.m. Ladies and gentlemen, the stock market is now closed. Stock market's now closed. Let's take a look at how we closed, what's going on, and what's happening in the broader equities and crypto market. Tesla up about 1.39% of the day. Bitcoin still 72,000. Incredible. Ethereum healthily over 4,000. Nice green candle right there, and it stayed above 4,000 the entire day. Bitcoin basically at 72,000 the entire day. SoFi down about 0.39%. They got a hold and a 850 price target by Piper Sandler. So a little bit of an upgrade right there. Also, Palantir's new short float came out, and it's down 5%. So really, there's no one's shorting Palantir. I mean, it's a minimal 110 million shares out of 2.1 billion. So no short squeeze there, but also not heavy short interest. ARK down about 0.16% of the day. Coinbase down about 0.95%. It's up a little bit in the after hours. Roku down about 0.14%. Roblox up 5.2%. Don't know why Roblox is up. I think they had some PR that came out on Friday, so we'll look into that. But they're up 5%. NASDAQ, 16,000. Dow Jones, 38,768. Apple actually got a nice little bump today, 1.18%. Again, Robinhood, 1760, and maintained 17 the whole day, and then it got hit right at the end of the day. 1685 right now on Robinhood. CleanSpark, again, down 16% on the day. Nasty fall. Microsoft, 0.39%. CleanSpark also was up about, I think, 7%, 8% in the morning. And then it got hit. Snowflake also couldn't get any momentum, down a little bit on the day. Oracle up a little bit. NVIDIA down 2%. And then Intel again up a little bit on the day. PayPal was green. Yeah, that was the interesting thing, dude. I saw this and was just like, what? PayPal? The pal of the pay? The number 2 app on the iOS App Store? This thing somehow is up 1.18%, healthily above 60 today. I could not believe my eyes when I saw that. But PayPal did indeed go up. And so that was nice. That was nice to see that happening. Amit, check out the last green candle on NVIDIA 3-minute chart, 3-minute volume, or 3 million volume. Yeah, I would imagine NVIDIA is interesting right now from a psychological perspective because I think people want the stock a lot more, but people also are thinking, should I take profits? We're going to listen to NVIDIA in a second. It's in a really precarious situation right now. Or I think people are waiting for what's the NVIDIA dip, but I also think people are waiting for like, where's my NVIDIA profits? I saw someone that was up 29,000%. They had their shares at $4. They bought them in 2011. There was a picture on Wall Street Bets today. And so a lot more people on NVIDIA are maybe starting to wonder, hey, I'm up 29,000%. Maybe I should take some profits. Maybe I should sell some of this stuff. We'll look at Liz Young in a second, but first, on a red day, Liz Young has to get up and say that the sky is falling and that everything's red. So we'll take a look at her in a second. Real quick, I want to show you guys something that MicroStrategy did just to make more sense to everybody today of kind of how genius Michael Saylor might actually be. Samantha Leduc, who is a CNBC contributor, I think I've seen her on CNBC before. She retweeted this tweet, so she thought it was really interesting. And I put this up about 4 hours ago. So this is when MicroStrategy was up 12%. Michael Saylor is taking on debt by collateralizing his Bitcoin owned by MicroStrategy to buy more Bitcoin. And when Bitcoin goes up, so will the value of MicroStrategy stock, which will then be used to pay back the fiat debt, the dollars, at a premium to the stock the debt was issued at in order to buy more Bitcoin. They're using fiat money to buy Bitcoin and paying back the debt issuers in Bitcoin, which is essentially MicroStrategy stock, which is now based on Bitcoin, who are happy to take MSTR stock because the returns are way better than 0.65% that they receive on the debt. Basically, they never have to pay debt because he just issues more MSTR shares, but shareholders won't care because the value of MicroStrategy will continue to go up as Bitcoin does, which is why he bought 12,000 more Bitcoin over the weekend. So he will borrow money against his Bitcoin to buy more Bitcoin. The debt then turns into MSTR stock, which is based on Bitcoin, and the dilution that will happen when he pays back his debt issuers with MSTR stock doesn't matter because the stock is appreciated so much that no one cares. Pretty incredible stuff. You either think that's a Ponzi scheme, or you think that's like the greatest thing on planet Earth, the most infinite money glitch you've ever heard of, and it seems like that's actually what it is. And he figured it out. The U.S. government, by the way, said that they are projecting a $7 trillion budget for 2024. That would put the debt for the United States in 2045, which is about, I think it's 2035. I tweeted this. Let me see. In the next 10 years, 20 in a decade. So 2034 at 45 trillion. So Biden says he sees U.S. debt in a decade at 45 trillion. 7.3 trillion for the budget. If Bitcoin didn't need another catalyst, there's your catalyst. You can't keep printing that much money. People are going to be looking for more scarce assets. All right, here's Liz Young on what's happening in the markets.
Investors should prepare for an even bigger momentum meltdown. Let's ask Liz Young, SoFi's head of investment strategy, with me here at Post 9. Nice to see you again.
You too.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
That seems to be where the conversation is, whether the momentum trade has run out of steam, and now we're going to see this rotation into laggards. What do you think?
If we're talking about the momentum trade as the Magnificent Seven of 2023 and the big tech names that brought us into 2024, then yes, I think it already has run out of steam. I think that ship has sailed, right?
Well, you're ready. You're throwing the curtain down on it already. I mean, it was one day for NVIDIA, Liz.
I'm not done yet. So the momentum, though, if we're talking about momentum in the sense of risk appetite momentum, I don't think that ship has sailed. I think that's still here. I think that's still alive and well. So all that I think is happening right now, which may be the precursor to something else, but all that I think is happening right now is that investors are saying, I don't want out of the market. I don't want out of growth. In fact, I'd like to try to find growth wherever else I can get it, but I'm not going to be silly enough to go into things that are very obviously crowded trades, very obviously overbought. So let me go try some other things. So there's rotations going on within sectors, which is exactly what's happening in tech right now. And there's also rotations going on amongst sectors.
Do you think the NVIDIA reversal on Friday marked a change in a trend for the market? I'm talking not so much momentum behind the rally itself, but the factor of momentum. Stocks that since November 1st, for example, almost anything tied to AI, and especially if you look at the direction of many of these chip stocks, it's not just NVIDIA. I mean, you could Taiwan Semi, AMD, Micro. I mean, so many of these other names just went to the moon, and seemingly everything went with it. That's related to, you know, growth, momentum. Is that going through a reversal?
I do. Well, I think a lot of it hinges on the direction of NVIDIA. Don't underestimate the, rising tide lifts all ships, and then the guilty by association trade as well. So if NVIDIA was the one driving most of this and keeping the enthusiasm up, then yes, for it to give some back, I don't think it should be a surprise that the rest of the chip sector also gave some back. But I also don't think it's a surprise that people didn't throw in the towel entirely on tech. I think that people are still willing to be present for that. And even if we think the market is extended, which I think it's difficult to find anybody who says it's not extended broadly at these PE levels, at this level of yields, even if we think it's extended, that doesn't mean it has to stop. It's just that certain parts of it may need to slow down a bit. And we're in a market, I think we talked about this on Halftime last week, where I remember 2 years ago, maybe even less than that, we were talking about, well, can the market go up without Apple? Yes, it can. Now we're talking about, can the market go up without NVIDIA? We're finding that out right now. So far,
do you think it can?
1 day, 1 or 2 days, right?
Do you think it can?
I do think it can if the rotation trade stays intact, but that also depends on whether or not the economy continues to go, because the rotation trade, in order for a broadening out to be effective and durable, would need to include cyclical sectors, which it has in part, right? Industrials have participated.
A lot. I mean, materials are up 7.5% in a month. Energy's doing great. Financials have done better. Industrials have done quite well.
Industrials have been doing well for a while. The materials and energy trade is a little bit newer.
Okay, so that's pretty much what Liz had to say. Her core point is not really to sound crazy bearish. Her argument's just like the broader rally is going to diversify, and certain parts of it are going to slow down. Obviously, some of those parts are going to be in the bigger names like NVIDIA. Oracle, they have earnings today. They are up 7.8% right now. Let me know in the chat if anyone owns Oracle. They are at a $313 billion market cap. I think one day Palantir will be at Oracle's size, if not larger, probably 7-10 years from now. It'll take time for them to get there, but I think that'll happen. So Oracle right now is up 7.3%. Their numbers are out. They have EPS of $1.41, beat expectations of $1.38, revenue of $13.3 billion, in line with expectations. I'm trying to get their actual numbers. Those are the headlines from their website. Don't have those yet. But Oracle, interesting company, obviously an exciting company as well in the data management space. Do I have their numbers? No, I don't have their numbers yet. Does a lot of stuff with data, a lot of stuff with enterprise management of data. Not necessarily like Palantir, but in kind of in the same space. At one point, Oracle was going to buy Palantir for $30 billion. This was back in like 2017, but Karp said no. And Larry Ellison is the guy who runs it, big friend of Elon Musk as well. So Oracle right now at $114 after hours. They are up. Nick Free says he bought some at 114 today. Okay, so they're at 122. That's great. Carr says I almost bought puts, but the market closed. Thanks goodness. Yeah, dude, like buying puts on companies, I don't know. If you're gonna buy a put on company, I feel like you have to really have an understanding of just like why they're gonna miss their numbers. Like even Snowflake, I wouldn't have bought puts on Snowflake. First of all, I didn't know they were gonna replace their CEO. But second of all, I didn't know their guidance would come in that low. If you saw their regular guidance, you would think that Snowflakes would be okay. They wouldn't drop 35%. So puts definitely printed that day. But I feel like you have to know the company, not just take a gamble on like, oh, maybe they're gonna fall. Unless you're just gambling, which is fine too. But I think that's the sort of logic for puts and calls, quite frankly. right? For maybe the company will perform or not perform. Gilead says, I made a great episode on robotics the other day. Massive industry no one is talking about. Yeah, I did an episode with Cern Basher, who's one of the core leading robotics experts, and that's on the YouTube channel if you guys want to check it out. That was on Friday. Exciting stuff. It's a $600 trillion TAM. And I know that sounds crazy, but if you watch the video, it's like pretty conservative estimates for how he gets to that number. Like very conservative, quite frankly. And in the next 20 years, it's one of the biggest TAMs in the world. And so Tesla, that is another bull case for Tesla. Like forget FSD. If the robots work, Tesla's going to be probably the most valuable company in the world. Okay, so that's what we have on Oracle right now. So they are up. Nothing too exciting about them, but I'm trying to wait till the company puts out the real numbers, but that's what we have right there. Let me also see on CNBC if we have actual coverage of Oracle. If not, we'll just wait till they put out the real numbers. Then we have to talk about CPI, because CPI expectations are out by the banks, and I want to see what they're saying. Oh, we have Lisa Su. Okay, hold on. So we got a bunch of things. Let's look at Oracle revenue, and then we'll listen to Lisa Su. She's on CNBC, and then we'll talk CPI. But here are the actual numbers for Oracle. Then we'll keep going.
The street was looking for, and revenue's just a slight miss here. 13.28 billion versus the 13.3 billion the street was looking for. You see shares up quite healthily here. There's some comments on from Safra Katz, the CEO here, Morgan, large new cloud infrastructure contracts in Q3, saying they drove Oracle's total remaining performance obligations up 29%. Also some commentary from Katz on AI progress, but not a little fuzzy on the details here, but we see shares up about 8%, guys.
All right. Steve Kovac, thank you. Mike Santoli, it was pretty interesting because after...
Okay, let's do CPI coverage real quick, and then we'll get to Lisa Su. She's on CNBC, and because I have YouTube TV, we can pause it and go back to it. Okay, so quickly on CPI. Expectations are tomorrow. I'll be live 8:20, so you guys know we'll be covering that live. Market had a rough day today, and I know we've had a pretty good couple weeks, so we're expected to have a rough day. CPI can make us have a really rough week. This is what we have on CPI. This is what the market is expected. So all of the banks are expecting 3.1. Last month was 3.1. So they're expecting higher for longer. They're expecting no significant decrease. And they're expecting for inflation to either go up. I mean, look at Jefferies, Barclays, Goldman Sachs. They have a 0.1% increase. Everyone else has it the same. Only Scotiabank says that 3.0, which means we might get a slight reduction. Either CPI comes in and shocks everybody and we get to 2.9, which is what the banks thought that would happen last month, that didn't happen. Or shelter continues to bring us higher. And energy, we've had some stuff go on in the Red Sea, obviously, and OPEC with production cuts. That also takes us a little bit higher. It definitely sets the precedent to take us higher for the next few months. CPI and inflation on the headline is going to be really hard to bring down now that we're getting into that 3.0, 2.9 range. And J-Powell's not cutting with a very tight unemployment market and with inflation not getting to the 2% target. Now, look, I don't think we need to get literal 2.0 to get a cut, but we need to get to 2.6, 2.5. Like, we're not going to be able to cut. We're just going to overstimulate the economy at that point and make inflation worse if we cut right now. So I don't think anyone wants to see it get cut, even though the politicians want to see it get cut. But that's not really going to help anybody. So tomorrow's going to be interesting because if we get a hot report, which I'm expecting us to get a hot report because I don't see how shelter is going to be any less hot than it was. The new homes data we got 3 weeks ago was really bad. I mean, like we have a housing supply crisis, and we have a shortage of houses in America. And it's not necessarily a crisis, but we definitely need more homes. That's mortgages are back up at 7.1. It's not good. It's definitely not good right now. So 3.3, yeah, 3.3 would be bad. Now, granted, if you have some cash on the sideline waiting for a dip, I think your dip potentially could come from that CPI report. I mean, we saw the beginnings of the dip this morning as the market kind of readjusted to everything that was going on. Bitcoin still at 72,000. So CPI tomorrow might further accentuate that dip as well. What will make stocks go up, higher or lower CPI? I think a lower CPI will make stocks go up, but even if they go up tomorrow, I don't know if that's necessarily going to catapult stocks. Remember, the market is up. How much is the S&P up? The S&P is up like close to 8% for the year, which is phenomenal. 8.32%. Yeah, it's up 39 points. It's just going to be a little harder to squeeze. If we can just stay at these levels, I think that would be amazing without collapsing. But a bad CPI, I think people are looking for a risk to sell or a reason to sell. And CPI might be that reason. It just might be that reason. Karen, hello. Thank you for being here today. All right. Lisa Su on CNBC talking about AMD. Let's see what she has to say. Obviously, the stock has doubled in the past couple months, and what she's got to talk about.
Morgan, thank you. Yeah, Lisa Sue, thank you so much for having us here on Overtime here at the AMD campus in Austin. We're just talking about Oracle's report. Of course, we need to be careful that they always give their guidance on the call, but so much of what they're reporting is coming out of data center, which has been just a huge growth area for you. Today at South by Southwest, though, you were talking also about the AI PC, about the client side. So hoping to start there.
Yeah, absolutely. So John, thank you for being in Austin. We're very happy to host you on our campus today. Look, it's been a great day. I really enjoyed being at South by Southwest. It seems like everyone is in Austin this week, all the movers and shakers. And yeah, what we talked about today at the keynote was really a bunch of different things. I mean, first of all, AI is really still at the very beginnings of what we can do in technology. We can talk a lot about the data center. I usually start there, but I did spend some time talking about AI PCs, and I'm very excited about this continuum of AI products as you go from cloud to edge to PC, and really trying to get sort of the user experience such that everybody has AI somewhere in their lives.
Help me with my skepticism here, though,
Sure.
on the AI PC itself, because it seems like this latest boom in interest in AI and some of the economic activity came out of OpenAI's ChatGPT release. And investors really started to realize, okay, this is going to be big. See it happening in the data center. But when we start talking about inferencing and the client side, I don't see my kids saying, oh, I need a new AI PC to run this new AI version of Fortnite. Right? They're still asking for the graphics cards, AMD, where AMD plays, to do the same kind of thing as before. So do we need to see new software that's putting demands on the hardware in a new way before the AI PC gets momentum, if it does?
Yeah, well, let me take a step back, John, and kind of tell you, describe a little bit of how I see the market evolving. So true, like, ChatGPT and all of these large language models have showed us that you can get access to a tremendous amount of capability with all of the training and inferencing that you do in the cloud. But it turns out that people really have a lot of personal data, and the way you want, you use your PC, it's actually a personal productivity tool. So what I see is that we're at the beginning of the era where we can make much, much more capable personal assistants in the PC form factor. And things like, I can ask my PC, when was the last time I saw John Fort? What did we talk about? Remind me what he was interested in. Those types of things, which today I'd have to spend, probably an hour looking through like all kinds of things. That's one example. Actually, on the South by Southwest stage today, we showed a really good example of doing text to image where you could do it locally, so you don't have to connect to the cloud. You can do it right in your own PC. And again, these are things that as the technology gets better, I am absolutely sure that everyone's going to want an AI PC.
Also on stage, you're joined by Weta, the really high-end special effects creators. Does the AI PC, to your point about text to image, really catch on with professionals first and in their iteration and ideas, and then that filter through the way it has with so many other graphics-powered capabilities?
I do think that there is a thing about expert users will start first. So we actually had David Connolly on stage from Weta FX. Actually, big congratulations to them. They won an Oscar last night for War is Over. That was entirely rendered on AMD technology. So we were very excited about that.
That's crazy, dude. That this tech is like everywhere when it comes to AMD and NVIDIA.
But what you see is, again, for whether you're a Hollywood, movie studio, or you're a content creator, or you're just a, sort of a regular person who has lots and lots of data, AI can help you sift through that, can help you use it in a more productive way, can take things that used to take, days or hours, and you can reduce it to, minutes in terms of finding things, whether it's text to image, or now you saw text to video. It's really an opportunity to just become much, much more productive. And the technology that we're putting in today's PCs, I'd like to say that we've had CPUs, GPUs. Now we have AI accelerators that are there just to make it much more powerful in very small form factors.
So now that we've talked a bit about the PC, let's broaden out, because a lot of the analyst world has been a buzz for the past several weeks about this $400 billion total addressable market for AI-related technology that you laid out. Again, my job to approach these things skeptically. We just went through this pandemic period where we saw this huge surge in demand for PCs, for e-commerce, for goods, and a lot of companies said, "Oh, this is going to continue up and to the right," and it didn't. So how can we be sure this is an exception?
So, John, the way I think about AI, and you've heard this from others, is AI is actually the most important technology that we've seen over the last 50 years. It's arguably the most important. And when you think about what it can do for enterprises, for all of us, for research, for development, all of that capability, you need more compute. Now, most people would say they've been really surprised at just how AI has taken off over the last 12 or 14 months. It is true. We've taken a technology that has been around for a while, but was frankly very difficult to use, and we've turned it into something where everybody on the planet can use AI technology. Because it's language based, and you don't have to be a programmer, you don't have to be an expert. You can just ask the AI what to do. Now, the truth is, AI is still in its infancy. So we're still at a place where we know that it will get better. Like, we know that you can make these models better. We know that you can make this inference faster. We know that we can make it more accessible. So I do see a place where we're going to see tremendous growth over the next 3, 4, 5 years. We are super excited about the partnerships that we have in AI. In the cloud, and really trying to deliver all of that infrastructure, as well as in the edge and in the client form factors.
Speaking of partnerships, one of those is with Microsoft, which has been using AMD chips in the cloud. I like to look at the calendar. We marked 10 years since Satya Nadella was named CEO of Microsoft back in February. It's going to be 10 years since you were named CEO of AMD in October. And I was also looking at the stock chart. We were around $3 a share on AMD when you came in, just shy of 200 today. It's pretty good. Also to note about those 2 tenures, data center has been key. Satya Nadella's Azure and work there that transition from server and tools into cloud. And then your work, I think when you came in, 90% of AMD revenues were in PC. In fiscal 23, less than half. Okay, so why was data center for both of these companies, in retrospect, so important over the last decade?
Well, I will say, it's been a great 10 years. It feels like it's not been that long, but one of the things that's most important with every company is to decide what you're best at. And you're absolutely right. AMD has always been a very good company, but frankly, we needed to decide what we were best at. And back then, the bet was high performance computing. When it may not have been the sexiest part of the business, I fundamentally believed that high performance computing was going to be the most important technology trend for us going forward for the next 5 to 10 years. I think we've seen that. We've seen data center become much, much more important. You've seen cloud become more important. It's really difficult to build these chips. We talk about sort of new Zen 4 and Zen 5 cores. We talk about chiplet technologies. We talk about our MI300, our latest AI chip, has 150 billion transistors. So these are hard technologies. But once you put them together, you realize how much they really drive sort of computing overall. So yes, it's look, we love PCs. I can talk to you all day about that, but we also see a world where high performance technology really is the most important ingredient for solving some of the world's most important problems, and frankly, working with some of the most important partners out there. And so I'm very pleased with the progress that we've made. And data center is a place where you need the biggest iron, and it's hard to build these systems.
So since
All right, Lisa Su, she's excited about AI, and AI is not necessarily going anywhere. Now, obviously, AMD stock, just incredible. If we take a look at AMD, I thought at around 115, this thing was getting up there in terms of being expensive, and market basically said I was wrong. So AMD right here, Over the past year, it's up 144%. Again, right around this May timeframe is when it made its first leg up back into the hundreds. Then it dipped right here in October at $98, and since October, when it kind of the whole market dip, rallied up to 211. Now up 143% over the past year. Now, look, the reason why I think Nvidia is pumped or AMD is pumped is because Nvidia is pumped. AMD's numbers on Q1 were not good. Or sorry, Q4. They were mediocre, and the guidance was also mediocre. And maybe they're aggressively sandbagging, but AMD, they don't tend to sandbag on Q1. That's, that happens further into the year. I think investors it's so weird. It's kind of like groupthink. Investors got tired of Nvidia. And so they were like, what's the next best thing? And they pumped into AMD. And that does feel a little weird where investors are pumping into it, because there's no reason AMD deserved to pump the past 2 weeks. Like, there's just no reason. I think the only reason it pumped is because investors got tired of getting money into Nvidia. They saw so much capital flowing in. They were like, all right, what's something else that should be lifted up as Nvidia goes higher, but I don't have to pay as juicy of a premium for Nvidia, which ironically, you're paying a worse premium for AMD because the growth is not the same. And money came to AMD. Money came into the SMH ETF. Money came into ASML, right? Like, a lot of these companies got money because of Nvidia. And it's weird because right now the market's trying to reconcile, how do we justify to continue buying these semis without taking profits, even though we know that the growth is there, but maybe the valuation is getting a little stretched. And it's hard. I think it's hard for the market to have a definitive grasp on this. Now, when CPI comes out tomorrow, if CPI is trash, I think the market will have a very easy excuse to sell off equities, so I think we should be prepared for a sell-off tomorrow, because the market's looking for an excuse, and if it gets one, it's going to take advantage of it. But if it doesn't get that excuse, I think, again, we're in a little bit of a weird situation of just like, well, what do we do? Where do we go? And how do we kind of deal with the market going a little higher, or potentially going higher because CPI is going lower? ASML deserves the money if Nvidia and AMD grow. It's totally reasonable. Yeah, so does TSM. I mean, dude, TSM is the one that makes the chips for Nvidia. So I think everyone deserves the money. It's just like, how much money is going to flow in, right? Like, is this really going to be the greatest tech bull run ever in the shortest amount of time? Or is this going to be a little spread out? Because I would imagine that it needs to be a little spread out, or at least the market feels like they want to be a little bit more spread out. Quantum computing. Yeah, I know a couple of people in the quantum computing space. I'll try to get them to do a podcast with me on that for Lunch with a Mitt. So yeah, I know very little about quantum computing. When I was doing my DD on Google actually, people forget Google takes a lot of moonshot bets. And when it comes to research, Google has actually been doing some development that is significant, but honestly, quantum computing, I don't think in our lifetimes will be solved, or maybe in our lifetimes, but not the true use cases of it yet. It's a very difficult problem. Google's working on this stuff extensively, like all the tech companies are, right? But there's just no results to prove for anything yet. So it doesn't show up in the earnings, but obviously quantum computing is a very, very big deal. And I mean, whoever solves it first is gonna get a lot of momentum. Do you plan on attending Meet Kevin's event in June? What event is Meet Kevin having in June? I had no idea he's having an event. Probably not, quite frankly. In June, actually, dude, the next couple weeks are gonna be pretty busy, guys. I have a bachelor party I have to go to in March. End of March, I have to go to New Orleans. And I just got on the Zoom with the guys who are going to the bachelor party, and we calculated the cost. It's a lot of money. So I don't even really want to go to this stupid shit, dude, but I gotta go. It's like one of my best friends from college. So gonna drop a couple grand on that. So I got to do that. And then June, I have his actual wedding in Virginia. So I have to go there. So yeah, I'm probably not going to Meet Kevin's event in June. Kelly wants to go to his event. Yeah. All right. If Kelly goes to the event, I'll be down. If she shows up, I'll gladly. This is what me and Kelly are going to look like at Meet Kevin's event if we go. Look at Tom Lee. Look at this guy. Bitcoin 72,000. Tom Lee's enjoying the Bitcoin run. There you go. I don't know if that's his wife or his girlfriend or one of his girlfriends. I don't know. But Tom Lee, look at him. Was looking very dapper with the turtleneck and blazer. Turtleneck and blazer always looks great. And obviously, the girls like a bull who's right. And Tom Lee's been right about pretty much everything. So not his wife. Is he married? Let's see. That's Gemini. Now, if he's married to a white woman, you know Gemini is going to say that she can't give us the answer. So let's see what Gemini says. Is macroeconomist Tom Lee married? Let's see. I swear, dude, if it's like, yes, but he's married to a white woman, so I can't. That would be so funny. I don't have any specific information. All right, so why do we use you then, you stupid AI? You can't give us any analysis here. Okay, and then Google doesn't have any analysis. The internet is useless. That's why you should sign up to hobbits.ai, which is the premier destination to ask Palantir questions. You can't ask about Tom Lee, but you can't ask about Palantir stuff. I'm going to be doing a video today talking about Palantir's AIP, and I'll be using Hobbits, the new software that I launched. About 400 people signed up over the weekend, so thank you everyone who signed up, and you guys will be seeing it in real time, using it in that video. So that video will be coming out in like 2 hours, and then we'll go there. Ask Perplexity. Actually, good idea. Let me ask Perplexity. Let's see. If Perplexity gives me a better answer, dude, I'm going to start using this. Okay. Is macroeconomist Tom Lee married? I feel like these are things the internet should know. It says no, he's not married. Now, either they're so decisive on this, either they know or they're just BSing. I don't know. But that one says he's not married. So do you have access to AIP? Amit? No, I don't have access to AIP. I built Hobbits on a different tech stack, not AIP. The tech stack I use is actually very simple and it's really good, dude. It's like I've been working with it for the past couple of months. It's very, very like efficient when it comes to building LLMs. It's like an open source LLM framework, but I'm not using AIP. Wikipedia says he has 3 children. Interesting. Okay. Well, Tom Lee's he's celebrating the bull run. He's definitely celebrating the bull run, and that's why. Now let's get an update on NVIDIA. $1,200 target is being maintained on NVIDIA. So let's open this up and see why Cantor Fitzgerald still has their $1,200 price target on NVIDIA. There we go.
Just raised his target on NVIDIA after Friday's reversal that did drag, as Mike said, the chip sector below the 52-week high. Let's bring in CJ Muse, Cantor Fitzgerald analyst. CJ maintains a buy, raises his target from 900 to 1,200. CJ, it's great to see you. Was Friday a shot across the bow?
I think there was, ample debate whether GTC would be a sell the news event. And considering, the stock move year to date, pullback like we saw on Friday is not unreasonable. But for sure, if momentum, is a factor that you're focused on, it probably makes you a little bit more nervous coming into the week. But I think if you take a step back and you think fundamentally, this is a company that's probably going to earn $35 next year. And if that's right, you're paying 25 times today for one of the best growing, generative AI leverage plays. So, shot across the bow, sure, but I still think it works.
What do you think GTC delivers? What do you think the keynote's all about?
Sure. I think it's interesting, right? They're moving into the SAP facility. So you're talking 16,000 people now. So, it's going to be a big event. I'd say first and foremost on the hardware side, they're going to launch their new Blackwell architecture. That is double the performance of the existing architecture. So, you've got a big wave of growth there into 2025, which is really important. The second one is software, right? It's $1 billion business today. That'll be a $10, $15 billion business over the next 5 years. That gives you confidence. And then last would be on the inference side. I think they're going to give you a lot of use cases that help you understand that 40% of their mix will continue. So you put it all together. Once you get confidence that growth is sustainable into 26 and 27, the stock's going to move higher.
So there's typical Wall Street analysts talking up their book. Now NVIDIA is cheap. Before NVIDIA was super expensive. Narratives change incredibly quickly. And now NVIDIA at 900 is freaking cheap because 1,200 is the new price target. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out over the next couple of months, but narratives have fundamentally changed when it comes to NVIDIA. Okay, here's JP Morgan on their CPI reaction. They think there's a 37.5% chance CPI rises 0.2 to 0.3%. And that would give the S&P a boost of about 0.25 to 0.75%. 30% chance it rises 0.3 to 0.4. They see the S&P falling. 22.5% it increases 0.1, 0.2. This would have CPI at like 3.3. That would get the S&P down maybe 1 to 1.5%. They have a 7.5% chance that the CPI jumps more than 0.4. That would be a 3.4, 3.5 on CPI headline. That would have a pretty bad sell-off, 2% down on the S&P. And a 2.5% chance is that the CPI rises less than 0.1 under this outcome, and everything rally in stocks would take place, sending the S&P higher by 1.5 to 2%. So JP Morgan is saying there's a small chance the CPI rises, very minimally over the past year. And if that's the case, the market's going up 2%. More likely than not, JP Morgan thinks that CPI will go up and S&P can go up tomorrow, but it doesn't necessarily have to go up by a lot. Basically a basic move the S&P makes on 0.25 to 0.75% per day. They don't have a scenario where the CPI drops. Now, no, remember, CPI is going to go up no matter what. So people forget, like, CPI is up year over year. So when they say it goes up, even if it only goes up 0.1, that's technically down, but it's still up, right? Versus if it goes up 0.4, that's really up. So their best scenario is it's basically flat, and that sends the market a little higher. Their worst scenario is that it's up to 3.4 from 3.1, and then the market's going to tank. And then actual best case scenario, which is low, is that it comes down to that 2.9 range, which is probably not happening. CPI will be out tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. 8:30 a.m. We'll be live at 8:20, and we'll be seeing what's going on when it comes to CPI. What event is Meet Kevin talking about? You guys are saying what? Did he make a video about this? Is this some like entrepreneur event or something? Meet Kevin. If someone has the video, let me know. I'm curious. What event is Meet Kevin having? Meet Kevin event. Oh, here it is. It's a millionaire symposium. Okay. So it's in Las Vegas, live and in person. $595. It's a conference, basically. Ross Gerber's there, Ben Mala's there, and then Kevin's there. I mean, look, it's cool. I don't really know what I would speak about here because I'm not a millionaire. So I think you have to be a millionaire to join the Millionaire Symposium, or at least speak on the stage. Interesting. All right. Well, look, if I had to buy a ticket to this, I probably wouldn't, just because I personally don't think I would get a ton of value from I don't think any of these events are really about like the content. The content's on the internet. It's about the networking. And so that would be the reason if I go. But honestly, if I would go, it would just be to have fun in Vegas. It wouldn't be for that event. So I don't know. But I'm sure a bunch of his fans will go and get to see him. And that'll be cool. You're a VC, Amit. They need a VC guy. So I met this billionaire dude, and he got me into Figure. And so that's what you got to do, guys. You got to. I don't know. I don't. And events like that are never that interesting, dude. It's like, I don't know. I've never gone to like a motivational event like that. I think there's so much motivation on the internet. The only reason you go to events like that is because you need motivation or you need the networking. That's it. But the people I've talked to that have gone, they pay $10,000 for these events, like Patrick Bet-David and all this shit. They don't do that much networking. Because look, if you're trying to network with Meet Kevin and you buy a $600 ticket and you think you have access to Meet Kevin when he's probably running around going crazy trying to make sure that event goes correctly, you're not going to have any access to him unless you have to pay a bigger tier, which means you just have to pony up a shit ton of cash to get like a dinner with him or whatever. So the networking never really, the networking is more internal versus than with the like celebrity that's there. And then it begs the question, are you going to meet like some cool people there? Maybe you will, but not really for me. Are you an introvert? No, I would say I'm much more extroverted than usual, than most people are. I mean, that's how I'm on YouTube, right? But I do enjoy just staying at home, dude. Like this bachelor party that I'm going to in New Orleans, I don't fucking want to go, dude. I really don't want to go. Like I would so love to just stay home that weekend and not go at all. Like I don't want to go, but I know my friend would never forgive me if I missed his bachelor party, so I probably have to go. But I don't want to. I don't want to do this shit. It will likely be real estate heavy. Yeah. Look, it'll probably be a good event. I'm not poo-pooing on the event. The event will probably be great. For me, I don't think it would be the most exciting to go to. And it seems very real estate oriented versus stocks oriented too. So that's also why I'm not that big into real estate, Extrovert says the guy who stays home 18 hours a day streaming. Yeah, but it's streaming. It's talking to people. So it's still it's still extroverted, right? Or can you be extroverted if you're a streamer? Does that count? Because you're talking to people. It's not like unless everyone at home is a bot. I'm talking to people. Pouncer right now at 25.43. So it is talking. Bitcoin's still above 72,000. Incredible. It's just not like in person. But that's a good philosophical question. Can you be an introverted streamer? Because I don't think I'm an introvert. I think I'm an extrovert. But I don't like going out that much. But that doesn't mean when I go out, I can't like be with people when I go out. Like I know how to, be with people. I mean, we went to Vegas in October. That was fun. We met so many people. Amit gave out all his life advice in Vegas last time. LOL. I'm one of the blessed ones to have the secrets of the universe. See? So Vegas was fun. Vegas was really fun. And I orchestrated like a little circle where everyone had to stand up and say why they were even here. Like it was a fun thing. So I think I'm definitely extroverted, but I do stay home all day talking on the internet. So maybe that's introverted. It starts changing the subject of Bitcoin instantly. I love it. And I did give June all the life secrets. So Bayray says, admit you have no life except it. Yeah, that's probably true. That's probably true. Also, around my town, dude, there's not that many things to do in my town. Like I'll go walk near the park in my town. My town is not like, there's not stuff to do. It's a suburb in Jersey. There's like fucking rabbits like running around. Like my town is very simple. It's not like a rural place. There's like a ton of stores and shopping and restaurants and all this stuff, but it's not like there's a ton of people to go hang out with. So I like staying at home. Staying at home is not the worst thing. Okay, ARM is down 3.61%. ARM has that lockup ending soon this month. I think in like 15 days. So those shares, I'm kind of scared about ARM. Like, I think when they get dumped on the market, if we get a bad CPI, there could be a cascading effect that gets semis to all take a crap, and ARM could be one of the ones. Like 130 billion doing 3 billion in revenue is just it's unreasonable, dude. And they're only growing 18% year over year. ARM is not a grower at all. It's a very vital, important company, but it's not a grower. Oracle up 9%. Their earnings were great. 124 right now. Oracle, $320 billion market cap. Path is reports this week as well. And Bitcoin still 72,000. Where's Robinhood? Did Robinhood take a crap? Robinhood 1690 after hours. Okay, so it's up a little bit. Bitcoin right now 72,185. What do you mean lockup? All the founders, they have a crap ton of shares they're going to dump on the market that they haven't been able to dump for like 18 months after going public, or like 12 months after going public. So they're going to get dumped, and that share float is not going to be 99 million. It's going to be like 300, 400 million, which means there's going to be less money chasing around the same shares. So, I mean, right now there's like $1 billion chasing, or 130 billion chasing 99 million shares. That's going to be under 33 billion chasing 300, 400 million shares. And so it's definitely going to get a little bit harder for this sort of like, not squeeze, but like momentum to drive ARM stock price higher. At least that's how I'm thinking of it. It's going to play out. And so I think people are buying puts on ARM because it's just like, now I wouldn't buy puts on ARM because you never know what happens, dude. You never know if there's just so much demand, the street like eats it up. I don't think that would happen, but we'll see if that actually plays out. What do you guys think of the Reddit IPO? So Reddit is IPOing at $34 a share, $6.5 billion valuation. And they're reserving 2 million shares for people that made an account before January 2024. I actually think the Reddit IPO is going to go well. I think the Reddit IPO is actually going to go well. But I think there's enough liquidity and meminess in the market for the Reddit IPO to go well, but I wouldn't expect it to last. I am not buying shares of the Reddit IPO. I'm not taking a risk with it, but I do think it's not going to like collapse as soon as it goes public because, I mean, it doesn't seem insane. They're trading 8 times revenue. I know they're not profitable, but they're going to make a lot more revenue because of AI. Google's paying them a shit ton of money, and eventually these guys are going to get profitable. They're $90 million from profitability. They're going to get profitable, I think, by the end of the year. So I don't think it's actually egregiously overvalued. Now, the $20-30 billion valuation was ridiculous. $6 billion, $6.5 billion, $890 million in revenue. That's not insane, in my opinion. But I just don't know where the meme frenzy of this is going to go. Is it going to go to the downside with shorts, or is it going to go to the upside with people buying calls? I have no clue. But it's definitely going to be an exciting IPO to see what happens. Where did you find that research on ARM? It's just common knowledge. I mean, if you just look up their short float and look up ARM SoftBank squeeze, you'll get a bunch of articles about how SoftBank's basically manufacturing a squeeze on ARM by a lot. They still own 92% of the shares, dude. SoftBank did not give up their shares that easily when they went public. So there's a lot of weird things that can happen with ARM. I just don't know if puts make sense there. Like, it logically makes sense, but it also, you just don't know. What if NVIDIA pumps to 1,000 by then? It could happen. I mean, they have their GTC event coming up soon. They announced some crazy new features in the market's like, oh my God, NVIDIA, why don't we have more NVIDIA? You never know. Tomorrow, the lockup of SoftBank will spot. It happens tomorrow? I thought it happens in 2 weeks. Okay, so if it happens tomorrow, I think you're right on that, actually. I saw a couple people on Twitter say, yeah, I think you're right on that. Let me just confirm. SoftBank. If you're right on that, then yeah, tomorrow is where ARM's going to get interesting. SoftBank ARM lockup. Now, again, I don't think all their shares are getting dumped. Oh, it is tomorrow. It is tomorrow. So SoftBank can dump 90% tomorrow if they want. They're probably not going to, but they can dump 90% if they want. That's probably why ARM was down today as well. So tomorrow might be a very volatile day for ARM. A very volatile day for ARM. Yeah, I thought it was in a week. It's actually tomorrow. All right. Dude, if SoftBank dumps, I mean, look, at this valuation, I wouldn't blame them. This is ARM IPO'd at 51. Right now it's at 130. It's a double. I mean, I can't blame them if they want. They have a lot of shares. I think they got ARM at like 6 billion. So ARM's now at 130 billion. A little bit higher than 6 billion. But I think they're definitely going to dump some shares. The question is how much. I would be shocked if it's not down tomorrow. Yeah. Probably going to have a little bit more of a broader red candle. Delu says, Amit, what are your thoughts on selling a cash secured put on Tesla, strike price 200, using the premium to buy 2 calls with a strike price of 300, both for Jan 2026? Well, so you're doing a strike on the 200 that you're going to be underwater on as soon as you sell it because it's under 200, right? So you would, it depends on the time, the date that you're planning to sell that one. Because like if you're doing it, if it expires in a week, Tesla's not going to 200 in a week. And if you're doing it in like 3-4 months, which I don't know if the premium would be as juicy if you're doing it in 3-4 months, then maybe that's better. But you're already going to be underwater if you're selling a cash secured put for 200 if you don't have a decent amount of time for Tesla to get back to 200, which I don't know, dude, if Tesla's getting back to 200 right now, Q1 is going to be a tough for them with the Germany factory shutting down. I think it makes sense taking the premium and buying 2 call options for 2026. I'm not in any Tesla leaps. I'm purely just stock right now. I just don't know. I feel like Tesla's incredibly volatile, and I think in 2 years it should be fine, but what if it's not, right? So I don't think Tesla leaps are a bad idea, but I do think you will be underwater on the puts immediately if you sell them. Unless you have, you're doing a January 2026. Yeah, I think Tesla will be above 200. That's actually not a horrible idea. That's not a horrible idea. So you're selling the January. Let me see what that right now. So you're selling the Jan 2026. How much premium are you getting for that? So Jan 2026, $200 strike, sell put 200. Okay, so that's going to cost you $51.95. So you're putting up what I'm looking at. You're putting up basically, yeah, So okay, so that makes sense to me. So you're selling. So your argument is that Tesla will be above 200. You'll keep the premium. You will have to pull up some collateral, right? So 200 times 100, you're gonna have to put up 20 grand in collateral. So 20 grand is locked away. You're getting 5,000, and you're taking that 5,000 and buying $300 calls. Yeah, that's not the worst idea. It's not the worst idea. I think it's not horrible. I think Jan 2026 looks awesome for that story. Yeah, I think now you got to lock up 20 grand. So as long as you think that 20 grand is giving you the premium you deserve to be able to buy the leaps, that actually is not a horrible idea at all, quite frankly. Yeah, I think Jan 2026, if Tesla's at $200, something went wrong, dude. Something went really wrong, especially if rates come down. Something went really wrong. So I think that's like SoFi being $10 at 2026. Like something, it should be okay. It should be all right. All right, that's it for me. We did the word of the day in the morning. Yes, we did the word. It was sumptuous. It was like something that's luxurious, and I compared it to voluptuous. Okay, so that's it for me today. Thank you everybody for being here. I'm looking at right now. I got an update. NVIDIA's revenue estimated to be 130 billion by 2026. I'm looking at that right now. Again, Loop Capital thinks it can be 175 billion, which is why they have the 1250 price target. But that's what the street is looking at right now in a lot of these different price targets, and that's what's determining how the street is going to price this stock. So, okay, that's it for me. We'll be back with Finance Junkies tonight, 9 p.m. daily Palantir episode will be out probably like in an hour. It's already recorded. I'm just going to post it soon. And then, yeah, I think that's pretty much it for me today. We'll be back tomorrow in the market open. CPI 820. That's going to be big news. So let's see CPI tomorrow. And then we'll keep going from there. All right. That's it. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Hope you guys have a good day. I'll see you guys on Finance Junkies 9 p.m. And please make sure to sign up to hobbits.ai. Try playing out with this custom LLM on Palantir. And I'll also have a video on that later today as well, where you guys can check it out later tonight. All right. I'll see you tomorrow. CPI 8:20 a.m. It's going to be a big one. Either we're crashing or we're going higher. That one number is going to determine everything. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. CPI is tomorrow. Yes, Miguel. Not Wednesday. It's tomorrow. All right, everyone. Have a good one. If I don't see you today, I'll see you 8:20 tomorrow. And if not, I'll see you tonight on Finance Junkies. Bye, everyone. Have a good one. Good night.